Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I see some names that I can recognize, some others are new to me, but it's really great to see you all in here in this webinar. Some of you, I think you have also participated in previous webinars, so it's always good to see that you keep on learning how StoryShift works. So my name is Carmen, I'm Customer Success Manager at StoryShift. And in this webinar, I'm going to explain how the connection between your email marketing tool and StoryShift works. So as we always say at StoryShift, the more channels you use to share your content, the more chances you have to reach, to increase your traffic, to reach to more people. So you may be already sharing your content on social media, or maybe you are using ambassadors, or you are sharing on the blog and also on Medium. So, StoryShift allows multiple channels, and one of those is email marketing. But this is a channel that creates some confusion because each platform works a bit differently, although they all share the same type of connection. So today I'm going to show you how you can connect your tool if you are working with a tool which we have an integration for, or even if you don't work with one, I'll explain how it works. So I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, if you have any questions, anything that you want to say, you can use the Q&A option here at the bottom, and I'll make some breaks from time to time to have a look at the questions and help you out. But if you have participated in previous webinars in the past, you probably already know that the use case that I use is EasyTalk. This is just a company that has launched an online platform, and we have created some social media for them. We have created a campaign, and we have launched already in the meanwhile this online platform. So today they want to go a step further, and they want to use their email marketing tool to include the last blog articles that they have published, because the audience that they have in this marketing tool is also a nice audience, and they want to include some articles so they can make sure that these people can understand more about them and raise also the brand awareness. So that's what I'm going to do today. First of all, if you really like StoryShift, if it's working fine for you and you know others that may also benefit from it, you can recommend us, and if they become a customer, you will get €100 or $100. So you can click here at the top on claim, and then you will find your specific URL that you need to share with them here at the bottom. And if they create an account with us and they become a customer, you will get that credit in your account, which is cash for you. So that's already good news. But also we have here next to that the Academy. You might already know it. It's just a series of videos that you can follow to understand all the features that StoryShift is offering. So it's also a great way to understand and find out a bit more about the tool. So let's get started. I'm gonna go to the channels page here. So as you know, we have many categories where you can publish and push your content, and one of those is the email marketing category. So here we have integrations, native integrations with 3 platforms: MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, and ActiveCampaign. But what happens if you are using a tool that is not listed here? It doesn't matter. If that tool still supports RSS feeds, then you will be able to connect it. And this is something that I will explain today as well. So for example, if you are using HubSpot, Fluent CRM, MailerLite, Sendinblue, your mailing list provider, there are many marketing tools out there. You can still connect with StoryShift by using the RSS feed. So we will see how it works, no worries, but I'm gonna start first with MailChimp. So imagine that you are using MailChimp, and people using MailChimp as other tools, they might send a newsletter once a month or once every few weeks with some product announcements, maybe some team new team members. So they may send a newsletter with this information, but they also want to include some blog articles. So what they probably do right now is copy paste each link to the articles and put an image and then a title and a summary, and at the end you lose a lot of time. So it's better if you just connect this with Storyshift, and Storyshift will just push the last blog articles and will include them in your newsletter. So you don't have to do that yourself. So let's see how to do this. So I will click on MailChimp, and I'm gonna click on Add New Destination. So here I have created my first MailChimp channel. I can give it another name, something that is more recognizable, for example, monthly updates. Here I see my own RSS feed URL, and I can also change, if I want to, the width of the images that will be shown in the newsletter. But let's go back to this. What is exactly RSS feed? So RSS stands for really simple syndication, and it just allows your subscribers to receive an email with the last blog articles that you have published. So you don't have to push them, or they don't have to go to the website from time to time to check if you did publish something or if you didn't. So this way they just receive an email once a month or once every few weeks with the last content that you have published. So we will need this URL later on. But first I'm gonna open the instructions, because we do show some instructions in here. And actually we can see that MailChimp is offering two options. Option 1 here, and this is to include the last stories in a newsletter. So this is the first example I was telling you about. But then we also have another option here, which is just create an email digest with the last blog articles that you have published. The difference between both is that for the first option, it's just a newsletter. So you will include some product announcements, some updates, any news that you want to share, and also include the blog articles. While on the second option, this will be an automatic email that is being sent once a month, for example, only with the last articles that you have published. So you cannot really include more information. Also, if you haven't published any new articles in the previous period, then this email is not going to be sent, because if there is no content, if there are no new articles, then the email cannot be sent. It cannot be empty, right? So that's already a difference between both. So let's see how we can make this work in MailChimp. So first I'm going to open my MailChimp account. I'm gonna log in. Okay. And then I'm going to go to campaigns. So I go to campaigns here, and then I can either create a campaign from scratch, just a regular campaign, or I can use a campaign that I already have, which is my case. So I'm gonna click on the campaign to open it. And in this case, this is a newsletter. So I want to create a newsletter and include those articles from Storyshift. So here, as you know, if you know MailChimp, you can select the audience, the from email address, the subject, and then you can define the layout. So here is where we have to work. So I will edit the design. And it's not really fancy. I'm sure you can make it 10 times better than this one. It's just an example. But here you will find a logo that I have added, some title, and then some information, an image. And this is my newsletter. So this is the text that I will change once a month with the updates and all the news that I want to send. But next to this, at the bottom, I also want to include these articles, these blog articles. So to do that, I just need to select the code option here on the right-hand side, and I'm just gonna drop it wherever I want. Normally it's at the bottom of the email, but to be honest, you can choose. So now this tab here on the right-hand side opens, and now I need to paste the code that is available for me in Storyshift. So I'm going to go back to Storyshift. I'm going to select all this block here. I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna go back to MailChimp. I'm gonna delete this first sentence, and I'm just gonna paste this. That's it. That's all you need to do. And it will look like this on the left-hand side. This is just the preview of it. So on the right-hand side, if you can read a bit between lines, you can see that this is our RSS feed URL. So this is unique. This is how the connection is made. And this is how StoryShift knows where he has to send these blog articles. I can also change the count. So how many stories do I want to show in my newsletter? It's 3 by default, but I can make it 5, for example, or 2 or 20. It's up to you. I also have some other options. For example, I can change the padding. This is just the space between stories. So from one story to the other, how much space do I want to have? You can see also here the excerpts. Even you can change the call to action here. So this is the button read more, but you can translate it, for example, or you can replace it by something else, take me to the blog, something more attractive. And once you're ready, you can just save it. That's it. That's all you need to do. Of course, we want to know what it looks like. Okay, now my newsletter is ready. I can continue and I can just schedule it. But I want to make sure that I like the layout of the stories. So let's push a few stories to this channel to see what it looks like. So I'm gonna go back to StoryShift and I'm going to go to the content, to my stories. And I'm going to publish 2 or 3 stories. So I'm gonna take this one, which is still on draft. So I just go in the story, I go straight to audience, I select the channel, so my William blog, and I'm gonna jump to email marketing, and here is where I find my channel, my MailChimp channel. So I'm gonna activate it, I'm gonna select publish now because I want to see the changes now, and I'm gonna publish it. So now I see that I'm publishing these to 2 channels, my William blog and my MailChimp channel. So I confirm. And then I can do the same for a couple of stories, just to have some good examples. So I'll do the same with this one. I just go to audience. I can select other channels as well, but the important one for this example is MailChimp, publish. And I'm gonna do that a 3rd time just to make sure that we have a good number of examples to show. In this case, for example, I want to push this one, which is already published. Doesn't matter, you can still do that. It's already live on the blog, perfect. You can still add an extra channel to it to push it to MailChimp. So I go to audience. I see already that has been published to these 2 channels, but I just want to also publish it to this one. So I'll click on update, and that's it. So now I have already published 3 stories to this channel. So let's see what it looks like. So I can preview this. MailChimp allows me to preview this to have a real idea on what the email is going to look like when the newsletter is sent. So I click on preview here at the top, and then I enter the preview mode. And then MailChimp will show me just an example of what the email looks like. And this is what I see. The code, the block that you had before, has actually been converted in this. So because I published 3 stories, then these are the 3 that I see. First, I see the title of the story, the cover image, the excerpt, and then also the read more. But I can change the layout of this. I can give a bigger title or a smaller title. I can change the size of the image. I can change this, even the color. I can replace read more by another different sentence. So this is just up to you. This is a standard option, but it's up to you how you want to change it. I said that I wanted to include 5, but I have only pushed 3 stories, so I can only show 3. If I publish 6, then the last 5 that I have published will be shown. So that's why it's important that you just select the right amount of stories that you want to show. So you can do this just here. So here you really can read between lines and make the changes that you need. Next step, if we are fine with it, we just click on continue, and then we can schedule the newsletter or even send it right away, the way you would do that normally with MailChimp. So from now on, these are all the normal steps that you know at MailChimp. But we also had another option, right? The email digest. So let's forget about this newsletter. Let's go back to the audience or to the campaigns tab. And let's go back to StoryShift as well. So I go to the channels page, to email marketing, and then I'm gonna check out the second option that I had. So this is what we have just done, the first option here. But now I'm gonna focus on the second option here. So this is just create an automatic email that is sent on a specific time frame, and that will include all the stories that I have published for the last period. For example, if I want to send this email digest the first of the month, all the stories that I have pushed to this channel for the previous month then will be included. They will be all gathered in this email that will be sent on the first. However, if I haven't published any content or I haven't pushed any content to this channel for the previous month, then this email won't be sent. MailChimp won't send it because there is no data. So let's see what it looks like. I go back to MailChimp, and here I can go back to campaigns, but this time I'm going to click on automations. It's not going to be a regular campaign, it's going to be an automation. So I click on automations, and I'm gonna create one automation because I don't have any yet. So here I have different options to create an automation email. In my case, I just want to share a blog update. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. So I'm gonna choose this option. I'm gonna give it a name that's really internal, so it doesn't really matter. For example, monthly updates. I can select my audience. And then in the next step, MailChimp is going to ask me for this RSS URL that needs to take the stories from. So I go back to StoryShift, and this is the URL that I need. So I just copy it and I just paste it here. I can also select when I want to send this email digest. For example, every month on the first of the month at 9 o'clock. I can also resize the images to make sure that all of them look nice. And then I can keep the next steps, keep going forward to complete my email digest. So I can still select the audience. Next step is the setup. So a few fields, what is the campaign name, what is the subject of my email, the from name, the email address, so a few elements that you can review. And then finally we get to the template option, so to make the layout of this. So you can select any template that you want. I'm just gonna use a saved template that I already have with my logo, just to be a bit faster, but you can use any. So again, the layout is not the important thing here, it's really simple, but here you have the logo, also some context. I just want to explain why they are receiving this email and what is this email. So now I have two options. I can include a code block as on the first option, so I can just do the same and copy paste the code that I received from StoryShift. Or I can also use this option that wasn't available before, the RSS items. So if I use this option, this is especially for RSS. So it's a bit more simpler because here I can select if I want to show the excerpts of the stories or only the titles or the full content or even customize it to make it a bit different. So here you can also read between lines to actually make it your own. In this case, for example, it's not read more, but it is read in browser. You can translate it, you can change it. You can also change the style, the colors, the font, so you can really make it a bit more unique. And if I save this and I preview it, this is what this RSS feed or this digest email will look like. So it will look like this. It doesn't have a cover image. The title is actually the link to the article, but it includes the author and also the dates, also the tweet button, and also some recent articles. So it's up to you if you prefer this option or the other one with the cover image and everything. But you can also change this one. You can say, for example, I don't want the Twitter option in there. So I will delete it. I also don't want to show the recent articles either. I think it's stuck. So you can change everything you want here to make it a bit more unique, to make it look like your style. So let's wait for a bit because I think I was going too fast. But just to let you know that you can choose both options, or even you can choose between both, or you can actually choose both. Maybe for some people you prefer just sending this RSS email, and maybe for some other audience you prefer sending a newsletter. So it's up to you the way you want to do that. Let's wait. So that's for MailChimp. So luckily we were already done with MailChimp. I don't know if you have any questions, if you use MailChimp already and you are familiarized with this or not. I'm gonna have a look in the meanwhile to this Q&A. So I have a question here that says, do the MailChimp stories appear automatically in chronological order in your MailChimp campaigns? Or can you choose which one come first, second, apart from when it was published? So in this case, they appear chronologically. So based on when you push it to the channel, they will be ordered in that way. So you cannot really play around with this one goes first or this one goes second. What you can do is just push the story the latest or the first to actually kind of make your own order. If that makes sense. I don't know if it does. But yeah, you need to kind of force the order yourself rather than using the settings in here. Let's see, yeah, okay. So any other questions? Was this clear? Okay, I think it was clear. I have another question here. What is the main difference between the newsletter option and the email digest option? That's what I said in the beginning as well. The email digest option will only include the last blog articles that you have published. And if you haven't published any in the last weeks or months, no email will be sent. While a newsletter will still contain all the content and all the updates that you write yourself. And also maybe some articles if you published any, and if not, then there will still be your own updates in there. So that's the main difference between both. I see someone that just arrived. Yeah, I will send the recording afterwards or tomorrow, so you can rewatch the first minutes. We've just finished with MailChimp, but there are some other tools that I want to show as well. So no worries. Okay, perfect. So let's move forward and let's go back to StoryShift. So I'm just gonna close MailChimp because we have seen this already, the both options. So I'm gonna go back to the channels and I'm gonna check now the other possibilities. So for example, Campaign Monitor. If I click on Campaign Monitor, I can just add the new destination as I did with MailChimp. I can give it another name, for example, monthly updates. I have again my RSS feed URL, and I can also change the width of my images. So I will save the settings. And then here I also have some instructions. So I'm gonna expand this. And in this case, I only have one option. So in MailChimp, I had two options because that's what they support. But Campaign Monitor only supports one option, which is the email digest. So they don't allow or they don't support the possibility to include blog articles in a regular newsletter, but they do allow the creation of an email digest where you can automate your blog articles and where you can schedule this email digest, for example, to be sent once a month. So let's have a look quick how we can make this work. I'm gonna log into my Campaign Monitor account. And in this case, I'm gonna create a campaign. I'm gonna create an automation as well. So I go to automation, and then here I create an automation. And here I already see something that looks familiar, right? The RSS workflow. So RSS, when you see this, then you know, from now on, you know what it's going to be used for. So you click here, you give the URL, the RSS feed URL. So we go back to StoryShift, we copy the URL, we paste it, and now the system is going to look up. And yeah, of course, there are no posts in this RSS feed because we haven't pushed any blog articles yet. It's not the same one as MailChimp. We did publish some stories to MailChimp, but we haven't done that yet for Campaign Monitor. So let's do that first. I'm just gonna click on use this feed anyway, but I'm just gonna go in the meanwhile quick to StoryShift, and I'm gonna go again to the stories overview. And I'm gonna do the same, exactly the same as with MailChimp. I'm gonna push or publish these stories again to this Campaign Monitor channel. So I go to Audience, I go to Email Marketing. In this case, I want to use Campaign Monitor, so I select this channel, I click on Update, and I confirm. And then I can do the same for or with 2 other stories. Let's take this one, for example. I go to Audience, and then Email Marketing, and then I activate Campaign Monitor and click on Update. And then I'm gonna do this a 3rd time just to have a good example. So I'm gonna click on Audience and activate Campaign Monitor. Okay, so I've done this already. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go back to Campaign Monitor and we can continue with the setup of this automation. So I can select the subject of the emails. It can be the title of the most recent post or my own subject. Who is going to be sending this email? So here I can include my name and last name. I can also select when I want to send this, what is the frequency of this email digest. For example, every month on the first day at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I can proceed. And as with MailChimp, I can also select a template. So I can import it, I can use the template builder, but I also have a template that is also not super nice looking, but it will do the job. So I'm gonna select my audience, and then I will see what it looks like, this template. Okay. So now we see just a summary of the email digest that I'm setting up, and then I can test it up. So I want to test it first. So I click on test, and MailChimp allowed me a preview online. I could just click on preview to see it. In this case, I do need to send an email to test it. So I will use this email address, and let's see what it looks like. So I'm gonna go in the meanwhile to my inbox, and it takes 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm gonna check the chat in the meanwhile. There is a question if we support Mosent. I'll explain later how you can find out if you can use this option for your own marketing tool. So we only have native integrations with MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, and ActiveCampaign. But if your tool allows RSS feed or supports RSS feed, you can use it as well. And then another question: does the hyperlink URL automatically include it in a MailChimp newsletter lead subscribers to one of your personal websites? Well, the URL, so the question is if the hyperlink or the URL that I have included in the MailChimp newsletter, if it redirects to my personal website or to the StoryShift environment. So it goes to your personal website, it goes to your blog. So you have connected your blog with StoryShift. So the content that you publish from StoryShift goes to your blog. And this is the place where these people will go when they find or when they click on the stories. They won't see StoryShift at all. It's just your blog that they will find, because it's where you have published your stories. So StoryShift is not going to be mentioned in this case. Okay. Let me check again. Yeah, here. So this is the test email that I'm receiving from Campaign Monitor. So let's have a look. some logos in here, and these are the stories. So again, I've published 3 stories, and this is what it looks like. It looks quite nice in my opinion. So you see the title, you see also the author and the date of publication, you see the excerpt, the cover image, and then the read more. So to answer you the question about where it's going to be redirected, when I click here, if I click here, I will go to my blog. If my blog is based on the William blog from StoryShift, which is the case, then this is what they will see. But it will be your blog, regardless where it's published. It will be just a link to your blog. If that answers the question. Okay. So this is what it looks like. So it's quite nice, to be honest, I would say. You cannot really change much, but seems already quite nice to see. So yeah, that's another example on how to use Campaign Monitor. But as I mentioned in the beginning, they only offer one option, which is the email digest. They don't offer, for example, the newsletter option. And now we are going to move to ActiveCampaign. If there are any other questions about this tool or others, keep texting it in the Q&A option, and then I will go back later. But for now, I'm gonna go and check the ActiveCampaign. So if I click here and I add the new destination, I find the same as with the other channels. So this will be also my monthly updates. Again, my unique URL and also some settings. And here you also have some instructions, luckily. So I open the instructions box, and I see that ActiveCampaign also offers 2 options, the same ones as MailChimp does. So again, I can include my stories in a campaign, in a newsletter, and I can also create an email digest that will be sent automatically. So let's have a look at how this works in ActiveCampaign. So I'm gonna open ActiveCampaign. So for the first option, we have just create a regular campaign, right? So we go here, we go to campaigns. I'm gonna create a first campaign. And then in this case, I will use the standard option. So I can give it a name, a monthly newsletter, for example. I will use the standard one. Oh, next, yeah, okay. Here I can again select my audience, which is this one. Next, as if you have been following, you see that all of them work in the same way. So once you test one tool, then the others are quite similar. Here I can also use a template. Luckily, I have also a save template, which is this one, the monthly newsletter. Here I can also include the from name, the email address, and the subject. So again, monthly newsletter. Okay. Perfect. This is what it looks like, really short, really simple. But as with MailChimp here, I also need to copy paste or to move a block from this option. So I'm gonna go to RSS feeds and I'm gonna just paste it here, for example. That's what I like it. And here I can then paste the URL again, the RSS feed URL. So I'll copy this one again, copy, I go back, paste. In this case, they also allow me to say how many stories I want to show in my newsletter. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 or 20. Let's say 5. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't allow me, maybe it's still loading. But as you can see, it's really similar to the other tools. So it's basically just telling them what the URL you need, or what is the URL where the stories need to be sent from. And then you just create your own template, your own style, and then you can schedule it or send it right away, depending on what you want to do. I wouldn't know why it doesn't allow me to go. I see it's loading. Let me try again. So I'm gonna copy it again, copy, paste it. No, I wouldn't know, to be honest. If there is an expert in the webinar, please come forward. Otherwise, we will skip it. But as you can see here at the top, what you still have to do is define the design of the email, of the newsletter, and then just select the summary settings, and then just do a preview or do a test of the stories. So it's really similar. In this case, it's really similar to MailChimp, for example. And let's gonna try to do the second part otherwise. In this case, I can also create this email digest. So I need to create an Erisys campaign. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna create a new campaign. In this case, it's not going to be standard, it's going to be Erisys triggered. So that's the second option. So I select this one. Here I say monthly email digest, for example. So let's try with this one. Here I can again select the audience. This one. Okay. Next step is again choosing a template. So I'm gonna choose the one that I have for my Erisys feed. So this is email digest. Okay. And then we see again the template that I've used for this. And in this case, you can also use the Erisys feed in here. So I'm just gonna try once again. So I'll copy the URL, I'll paste it, I'll say, for example, 2. Yeah, it doesn't really allow me. I'm gonna try first maybe publishing a few articles to this one. That may be the reason. So I'm gonna go and quick push again as I did with MailChimp and with Campaign Monitor. So let's try at least, otherwise we will skip it. So audience, now I jump to email marketing, I activate an active campaign. Okay. Second one, here, audience, email marketing and active campaign. Okay. And then I'm gonna do that a third time. This one, audience, email marketing, active campaign. So we've got 3. Okay, so let me go back to active campaign, try again with this URL, which I think I still have in my clipboard. Yes, now we have it. So now, because I've pushed already a few articles to this channel, then the system is able to see them, to recognize them. So I can select, for example, that I want to show 3. This is a preview, but I can also customize it. So this is the title with the link. The date goes below that, and then the description and the a long description. But for example, if I have a look, I don't see the cover image, and I miss it because I think it's important to have a cover image. So I can just add it myself. So I can just add any other extra fields that you want to. In this case, it's content URL for the image. So if I preview it, I already see the image here, which looks already a bit more interesting. So now I have it. Now that's how I have made an email digest. So the layout in this case is just the cover image with the title, the date, but I can really change this the way I want to. If I don't want to put the date, I can also delete these fields. So I update it again. So now the date is gone. So again, I can play around with this to make it look like the way I want to. But it's very similar to MailChimp in my opinion. So it's easy to use as well. And the next step, as I said, is just you go to the next step, to the summary, and then finally you can just schedule it and send it whenever you are ready to go. So that is for ActiveCampaign. Any questions here or any other questions about something else? Can you change the positioning of the images or the text in the RSS feed builder? That really depends on the tool that you are using. For example, in MailChimp, you can't change the positioning, you can change the size. In ActiveCampaign, I do have the feeling that you can. It's just playing around with the builder, like you said. So you can open the tool that you have and see what they allow, because every tool will offer different options. And it really depends on the tool that you are using and also your experience probably. But if you have any questions about this, for example, you can contact the support at the tool, and they will let you know how to change it. We send the data from StoryShift, but these settings, they are completely dependent on this tool in this case. So here I do think that you can change and put the content URL at the top. I suppose, for example, like this. Let me try. Yeah, nothing changed. That really depends on what they allow. So I would play around with it a bit. If you don't see it clearly, you can also contact their support and just ask, hey, can I change the order or the position of these fields around? And they will let you know what the possibilities are, because each platform is going to be different in this way. Okay. Okay, so let's move further, and now I'm going to explain HubSpot, which is also a very popular tool for email marketing as well. But if, as you can see here in our channels page, we don't have a native integration with them. So we only have native integrations with these three. But as I mentioned in the beginning, you can still connect StoryShift with that marketing tool if they support RSS feed. And HubSpot does, like many other tools out there. But okay, where can I get my RSS feed from? Because yeah, here I don't have an option to get one. So it's a bit hidden, and it's here in the Content Hubs category. Is this one, RSS. So you can use this one for any other tool, for any other marketing tool that you want to connect with StoryShift that is not natively supported. So you click here, and you do exactly the same as with the other channels. You add the new destination. Here you also have, you can give it a name. So let's say this one is going to be for HubSpot. So HubSpot updates, for example. HubSpot updates. You can also here choose already if you only want to show a summary of the story or the full content, or for example, the static content recommended for newsletters. So you can really choose the one that you want to, or test it and see what option you like the most. You can also include the categories in the RSS feed if you work with categories in the blog and you want to make sure that the articles are ordered by category. You can also use them or disable them. And this is your URL. So this is what you really need to paste or to include in the other tool. So I'm going to save this for now. And now I'm going to open HubSpot. It's HubSpot in this case, but it can be any other tool that supports RSS feed. You just need to find a bit your way, but HubSpot has, for example, a really great article. I'm sure that the other platforms will also have a similar article on how to use or how to work with RSS feed. So in this case, I need to go to marketing. I click on email, and I need to create an email. This is going to be used for the email digest because HubSpot doesn't allow to include external blogs in a newsletter. That's how they work. But they do allow to use an external RSS feed from an external blog to send an email digest. So that's what we are going to do. So in this case, I have my type of email. So I'm going to use the RSS feed one, so this one. Here they allow me to choose between the HubSpot blog, if I have it there, or an external blog. If you have already a HubSpot blog, then you don't need to paste the RSS feed from StoryShift, because then you can already get all these articles from your own blog. But in our case, my blog is external. It's in William, or it's in WordPress, or in Webflow. So I'm gonna go for the external blog, and here is where I need to paste this URL. So I'm gonna go back to StoryShift. I'm gonna copy the URL again, copy it. I'm gonna go back to HubSpot. I'm gonna paste it. And now the system is going to check again for stories. Again, no content. So I'm going to publish some content in the meanwhile. So I'm gonna go back once again to stories. And I'm gonna publish just 2 to be a bit quicker. So I will just push this one once again to my HubSpot integration. In this case, I find it under Content Hubs, so it's not going to be under email marketing. So I have it here. So I'm gonna activate this one and update. And I'm gonna do the same once again. Here, audience, HubSpot, update. Okay, perfect. So now I've pushed 2 stories to my HubSpot integration. I'm gonna try to see if I can. I'm gonna just start over to see if it can already find these 2 stories. So this one, this one, yeah. So there is no content yet. I think it takes some time. There is a delay, but let's just keep moving. So now I can find or choose again another template. So I have a custom one. No, I don't have any custom one. So I'll use just this one. Doesn't really matter. So now here is where I can define basically my layout for my email digest. And this is what it looks like. So my 2 stories are already here. Here I can just upload a logo to make it a bit nicer. So let's do that quick. And in this case, I find the 2 stories again with the title, the author, the date, the excerpt, read more. There is no cover image. But here on the left-hand side, I can also change some settings. So here I have, again, this is very similar to ActiveCampaign. I have the title, the author line, the published date time, the summary, and the read more. I can, again, translate this or change read more by something else that I like more. I can also select here the number of articles that I want to display. I can insert some other fields. The only problem is that they don't allow images in RSS feed. So this is something that they don't support for a reason. So in this case, with HubSpot, you cannot include a cover image, but you can include some other fields, as you can see here, or remove them or change the design, the layout. So here you can just go further and start checking all of it to just make sure that the email digest looks the way you want to. And from that moment on, all the articles that you publish to this channel from StoryShift will be pushed to this email. And again, if you didn't publish any articles to this channel for the last month, then whenever the next email digest needs to be sent, it won't be sent because there is no articles pushed to this RSS feed. So there is nothing to show. Okay, I'm gonna check some questions here. Okay, so let me just answer this one. So when I try to activate the RSS feed to an already published story, it tells me that it will be published in the HubSpot, but also update the already published story. Why and what will be changed? Yeah, that's a really good question. So I'm gonna go back to the stories to show what this customer means. So in this case, for example, I have this published story 8 months ago, and I want to push this one to, doesn't matter, HubSpot or ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. So I click on edit. That's exactly the same as we have seen during this webinar. So I go to the audience and I say, hey, email marketing or content hubs, I want to send this to HubSpot. So when I activate this channel and I click on update, I will see here where is it going to be published and where is it going to be updated. If I see this in here, that is going to be updated on one destination, this is my blog. This means that this has already been published in the past to my blog, as you could see, but it probably means that I have made changes to the text, or I have maybe updated something in the past, but I never sent the updates. So if you want to make sure what the text is going to be, you just need to go back to the right tab, have a look at the text, and just make sure that it's okay. But that you see this in here, it only means that the last version of the story will be updated, will be published, or the new version will be pushed to the website. If you didn't make any changes, then nothing will change, or maybe it was just a space or something that you did by accident. But it won't be changed. It only depends if you did some changes in the past. And it will be published for the first time to this HubSpot channel, or to MailChimp, or to ActiveCampaign. If this answers your question. I think so, otherwise just you can contact me afterwards to have a look. And then we have another question here. Can you set a minimum number of articles for the email to be sent out? Like only send the email when it has at least 3 articles pushed to it. That's a really good question. And to be honest, I don't know. I think it also depends on the platform. Here, for example, just because I have HubSpot open, I see the maximum number of articles to display, but I don't find anywhere where I can also select a minimum. So I don't think you can. I don't think so. I haven't seen it in any of the tools, but it could be that you are using a different one that allows this. But I would reach out to the platform that you are using, or try to look for it in the help article, because they may offer this option. To be honest, it looks like a good thing to have, but I haven't seen it, so I cannot really confirm if that's possible. Okay, perfect. Then another question. If I didn't make changes and if someone did change, I don't want it to appear. Can I deactivate the other so only HubSpot RSS is green? Well, the problem with this one, so it's the same question as before. So the RSS feed, when you send the RSS feed to, so when you send a story to your HubSpot or to your MailChimp, the link there will bring you to the blog article. So you always need to show the last version of the article. So in order to send or to publish this to HubSpot, then you need to update this. You have to. If you are worried that someone or maybe you by accident have changed something, you can always go to the right option here and you can open the version history to see when the last version was made and what was made. So what has changed. So you can really go back and see who has made what, and you will also see it here on the story. So actually you can even restore that version here on the left hand side to actually put the story back to it was. Okay, but I'm afraid if you want to send this to HubSpot, then you need to update it as well. That's you always need the last version, otherwise, yeah, it's a live blog article, so it has to be live. Okay. Okay. So coming back to the question, if we support Mosent, yeah, that's what I said in the beginning. Just look it up. So you can go to just Google, for example, and say Mosent, not like this. RSS feed, and see what you can find. So for example here, how can I create an RSS campaign? So it looks like you can. Yeah, campaign settings, select mailing list, select format, create template. Yeah, with the required RSS tags. Yeah, so it seems you can. So just have a look, follow the steps in here, And yeah, you have it in here as well. So yeah, that's the best way to know if the tool that you are using supports it. You just look it up and you will see really quick if they support it or not. So in this case, the option that you need to use is the RSS feed, because we don't have an integration with this tool. But as you can see, it's exactly the same. Okay, and something else, how many feed blocks from StoryShift can you add to one MailChimp campaign to set up your layout? You can actually add several. It's just you only need to paste one block, and then all the stories will be included. So you don't really need to include two feed blocks, because then it will be duplicated. It will be the same twice. But I mean, you can, if you want to, or add other ones, text, images, so you can really create your template the way you want. But the RSS feed one, it only needs to be included once, because that one block will include all the stories that you have pushed to that channel. So only once is needed. Okay. So now I'm gonna go very quickly, because I know we are running a bit out of time. I want to show you the metrics for this, right? So of course we have metrics with MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, and Campaign Monitor, but we cannot show the metrics when using the RSS feed, just because it's not a native integration, so we don't really get the data from them. But so if I go to one other StoryShift account that I have, let me just show you a quick example of how the metrics show. So here I'm in the stories list. I have created a filter with the stories that have been pushed to any MailChimp or any email marketing account. So for example, here I can see that this story was published a month ago to WordPress, Campaign Monitor, Google AMP, MailChimp weekly newsletter, ActiveCampaign, RSS feed, so it has like the full combo. So if I click on reports, I can see actually the metrics for each specific channel. So this is a report for the story. If I scroll down, I can see already some breakdown. For RSS feeds, we cannot really show any data. We don't have the access, we don't have the data from them, so we cannot show anything. So this will always show 0. But if I scroll down a bit, I do find the newsletter category. So here I can see that for MailChimp, I have so many times that the email was open. I can also show the details and see what is the evolution or the distribution. For Campaign Monitor, I also have this email opens, and I can also show the details, and the same for ActiveCampaign. So for these three, because we have a native integration, we also get access to the metrics. For the RSS feeds, we don't get any access, but you can still check this out in the marketing tool itself, because it will be there anyway. So yeah, you can still find all the metrics that you need there. Okay. Another question here, can you see the click rate of individual articles in the email? Well, you cannot get this type of metric in StoryShift. We only show the number of times that the email was open. But I'm sure that specifically MailChimp or Campaign Monitor or ActiveCampaign will give you this information. They go way deeper, as they are a tool specifically for marketing, for email marketing. So I'm sure they will include way more metrics. We only show how many times the email was open, so that you have an idea on how successful this newsletter was for you, or how many times the story was read in all the channels. So that's what we show. If that answers your question. Any other questions? We have already been here for an hour, so I don't want to take a lot more time from you. But if you have any questions, you can reach out in the chat. You can also send me an email. But here you can always access the chat, and we will be happy to help. And don't forget that we will be sending this recording afterwards, probably this week. So you will find it in your email. And yeah, just we will record another webinar in the next month or couple of months. So you can also stay in touch to find out what the topic for the next webinar will be. And just one very last question. On the story level, I guess you can see how many reads came from email too. Yeah, exactly. Well, that the email opens is the number of times that we is the number of reads, because this means actually that they clicked on this story to go to the blog and read it. So this is actually, yeah, they had to open the email, but if they went to this story, then it means they read it. So this is email opens in this case is the same as number of reads. Yeah, this is actually what is interesting for us in this context. For all the other metrics, you can check out your email marketing tool. Okay. So this is all for today. Again, thanks for joining. It's really great to see that you keep joining these webinars, and any questions, just let me know. And we stay in touch. Okay. Bye bye. Enjoy the day.